It's the last video, guys, and today is the 26th, and NaNoWriMo is it's next week. Oh my goodness, I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get really nervous. I'm having dreams about NaNoWriMo and having to write, and November is coming, okay, so I'm live. Let's minimize this and let's get into the intro. It's the last video, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the formula that I use to create an outline for my plot. I'm going to show you how I outline the plot and then how I plot my plot. And so you understand where I'm coming from. Outlining a plot for me is creating and figuring out the sequence of events to tell your story. And then plotting a plot is asking the who, what, when, where, why, and how of each of your scenes. So let's just get into it, and I'm gonna minimize myself. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. Okay, there we go. So here we are in my plot tab, and this is the formula that I use to outline. Do you need to use this? No. However, I like forms, I like process, and I like things that are organized, and so this is what I use. So let's make this a tad bit bigger in case you want to see it. Where is it? Nope. Oops. There we go. Zoom in. So as you see, it's a 3-act structure. And the 3-act structure, if you don't know, is beginning, middle, and end, or introduction, problem, and then resolution. And it just repeats itself over and over and over again. So for Act 1, this is the introductions. And just so you can know, from what I've read, when you follow the 3-act structure, Act 1 and Act 3, if you're writing an 80,000 word manuscript, will be about 20K each. And then the Act 2, the middle part of your book, is going to be about 40K. Just to keep that in mind, that the first act and the third act, they are both significantly shorter than your second act. All right, so Act 1, Scene 1, introduce the main character, a problem, and the solution that the character rejects. Scene 2, unresolved issue, character does something, there's consequences, and then the character makes a life-changing decision. Scene 3, character is determined, character gets cold feet, and then character perseveres and goes on the adventure anyway. And then Act 2, the new world, introduce the new world, explore the new world, and then reflections of the new world. Scene 2, something happens, your character goes along with it, but at the end they just reject it. And then Scene 3, reflections of what happened, confronted for what happened, and then consequences for what happened. And then Act 3, the trials. Scene 1, character tries to fix the mistake, you have a plot twist, and then you have your dark moment or worst case scenario. Scene 2, reflections of the dark moment, your character gets a motivational, inspirational, pick-me-up speech, and then the character takes action to overcome it. And then finally, the last scene is what happens. Do they win the battle? Do they get together? And how does your book end? And this is the formula I follow. If you want, you can use it. If you don't want to use it, great. However, this is a formula that many books and many movies follow. It seems to work. That's why I like it. So I then take this, and this is the idea. And as you can see, I have my beginning, my middle, and my end. Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, and then the intro, the conflict, and the resolution. And I just figure out where my story is going to go. So as you can see, we have meet Zoe. It pushes her to find love. Zoe rejects that because she wants to be independent. Scene 2 is CSI, that's the Chance in Space matchmaking service, is in her mind. Her friends have mixed feelings. She goes to the office and she leaves signing a contract with the company. Finally, she packs up her life. She gets cold feet, but she goes anyway with the idea that she can always come back. Then we end up in the middle of the book where she arrives on the new planet, meets family, and is introduced to new customs, reflection on how different everything is. Then scene 2, prep for marriage ritual, becomes intense and real for Zoe, she rejects Giselle. Final scene, asks herself why she came, confronted by her mother-in-law, and realizes she's dumb. And then the ending is she does a seduction ritual to try and make it better. The plot twist is Giselle. Why can't I scroll over? Oh, there it is. No, come back. Giselle rejects her. She's later sent home. And when she gets home, she's all back home. She's sad. Her aunt comforts her by saying being a princess doesn't mean being passive. And Zoe takes this to mean that she needs to take her life in hands, and instead of going back to the planet for Giselle, she decides to go and reapply for her dream job, and she gets it. And so the novel will end 2 years later when Zoe is sent on assignment for something somewhere, and she meets Giselle again. And they're both older, they're both mature, they both have successful careers, and they get to know one another again, and it ends on a happily for now type ending. So once I have this, let's go up a bit, and we'll zoom out. I then take this, and I expand upon it like this. So here we have the beginning, scene 1, and there's more info for the intro, the conflict, and the resolution. Now, where this takes, for this part, you really want to ask yourself, like, the transition of the scenes, and does it make sense? Are the transitions between them too big, too small? And where I found that I had issues was in the middle scene, because up here, we go from reflection to how everything is different to them just getting married. And I didn't like that, so when I wrote the middle, these 3 are basically like scene A, scene B, scene C, because she has a family dinner, she meets Giselle for the first time, and she's shown the difference between the interactions of men and women together. Then the second scene would be she's introduced, it's announced that the first part of the marriage ritual will happen that night. Zoe prepares with the other women. She has her first encounter with Giselle. And it goes presumably well. Then the last scene is she has breakfast with the other woman, and again, she sees the differences between the interactions of men and women on that planet and her planet. There's the second part of the ritual, and that's where Giselle rejects her. So there's a whole lot more stuff happening between her thinking how everything is different and them getting married. And that might happen while you are plotting, that you'll see that, oh, okay, this is a fast jump, so you'll just add scenes, or maybe you'll see that a scene just doesn't make sense, and then you'll delete it. However you plot is the right way for you. Plotting's a monster. Alright, so once I have all of these sections completed, then I go to the plotting of plot. And here is where I have my checklist. And you don't have to have a checklist, but I like having a checklist because I like the satisfaction of getting the little check mark. So right now, as you can see, I have done one section and I have 27 to do. But once I have a section done, I get to click it. And then once I finish Act 3, Scene 3, I get to click that. And then I'll get to click these. And this might seem really silly, but it's motivational to me. And you need to take motivation where you can get it. So this is how this looks like. This is the beginning scene, Act 1, Scene 1. And I ask who, what, when, where, why, and how. So who is in the scene? And it's Zoe and some CEO. And what is the purpose of the scene? It is an info dump. I want to give as much information about Zoe in the form of an interview between her and another character. And if you want to know the best way to give info dumps is through dialogue, because it can be interesting. And then when does it take place? The morning. Where? Downtown in an Lux high-rise in an executive office. It's really chic there. She might just feel a little bit out of place because Zoe's more middle class than rich. And then why is this scene important? Because Zoe really wants to be a journalist. A journalist. And this is from the theme of you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And this is something she needs. It's also something that she wants. And this scene is critical for my ending to work and make sense. So hopefully it comes off well. And then how do I picture this scene going down? Zoe is sitting in the waiting room, maybe looking in the reflection of a window and thinking about her appearance so that I can info dump how she looks like. Then she'll be called in by a secretary to go for her interview, where she'll be asked a bunch of questions, another info dump, and it will end with her not getting her job. She's calm and reserved, she thanks the man for his time and insight, but she leaves wishing that he would choke. And you would continue this for the middle, the end, for scene 2, scene 3, all the way to act 3, scene 3, and then once you're done, you get to check all the little boxes off, and you're finished. And you are ready to write and start your novel for NaNoWriMo. And I'm so excited and nervous, more nervous than excited that it is coming. So I hope to see you all there. I wish you all success. I hope you get the word count or finish the rough draft, whatever you decided your goal to be. And I will see you guys soon. Tootsies, may applezines.